The 22nd annual Winter National Drag Races. Well, the funny car semifinal matchups, impressive to say the least. And one man who won't be in the semifinals is Don Perdum, Mr. Funny Car, eliminated early, along with many other big names. Now, Hawley on the near lane in the red car. He's from London, Ontario, and has been the fastest qualifier and fast all meet long. Beadle in the far lane in the Blue Max is a three-time world champion. It should be a fine race as they enter the staging area. Uh-oh, Hawley's backing up, Sam.
Well, Chris, what I think happened when he did his burnout a moment ago, Hawley didn't get the traction he wanted, and his crew chief motioned him to move slightly to the side. He's moved about a yard to his left there.
Well, this is going to upset Beadle because these engines are heating up. There's no radiators, no water, no cooling system. It could be a costly delay for Raymond Beadle.
Well, exactly. These cars can... Oh, look at that. Beadle is backing up. He's pulling a maneuver of his own. So we have a heavy psychological implications here before the start.
I would say that the temper has gone up in the blue car. I really would. Waiting now for the light, Buster Couch, the flag band, to press the button, sending these two semifinalists on their way. Hawley on the near lane, Beadle on the far side. Down the strip, it's close, close, close. And at the end, it's Beadle at 5.975 seconds, 244.56 miles an hour. And Hawley was even quicker at 5.969, but he didn't get there first. And so the Blue Max goes to another final round.
Well, of course, Chris, both drivers see the green light at exactly the same instant. But in this case, it was Beadle who reacted faster. I think getting angry there on the line had the effect of sharpening his reflexes.
And milliseconds win and lose this kind of racing. Al Segrini, a proper Bostonian in the near lane for the second semifinal. His last victory, his only victory, came in '74. He goes against Doc Halliday of St. Paul, who's never won a national event. And the two cars come to the staging area.
When the electric eye on the left is broken by the nose of the car, that's called pre-stage. The center eye signals staging. The right beam triggers the clock as the car starts its run toward the speed trap, here at the other end of the course. The trap is 132 feet long. It's divided in half by the finish line, and it is through this trap that the car's speeds are recorded.
And those speeds sometimes are as high as 245 miles an hour. Okay, here we are on the line. Segrini in the near lane gets off fast, and Halliday has a bad start, and it's going to be Segrini with an easy win. And he stops the clock at 237.36 miles an hour, 6.217 seconds. And Al Segrini goes to a final for the first time since 1974. Is he a happy fellow from the state of Massachusetts? So the final will be Blue Max Beadle and Super Brute Segrini. It's funny car final time now, with Raymond Beadle in the famous Blue Max in the near lane, the challenger Al Segrini in his car in the far lane. Beadle, a three-time world champion and one of the biggest winners in funny car racing, is the heavy favorite in this competition now, waiting for the light to go green. They rev up their engines, watching the Christmas tree. There are the lights, and it's away. And Beadle and Segrini hit the throttle at the same moment. Flame belches the exhaust, and Segrini pulls ahead to beat Beadle by the better part of a car length. A remarkable upset for the Massachusetts rider, and his crew is extremely happy. His speed, 238.09 miles an hour, 6.262 seconds, and beating the man from Dallas. And so Al Segrini, who waited almost 8 years for this victory, is about to be overwhelmed by his happy crew.
The assault on the qualifying standards did not lessen with funny cars. World champion Raymond Beadle in the Blue Max ended in the number 1 position with a fine 5.91 second time. And as you can see, the rest of the field was close behind, with the number 16 car just a quarter of a second slower. And Beadle continued to tell the story of Funny Car Eliminator as he came to the line in the first round of competition earlier this afternoon. The experts had classed Beadle as the strong favorite, expecting little trouble from the number 9 qualifier, Al Segrini. And it was then that it happened. With incredible skill, Beadle regained control and drove the car to a stop. The crowd waited to see whether Beadle had been injured. And as he climbed out, untouched, the crowd roared its approval. Raymond Beadle, three-time world champion, safe and sound. A tribute to his driving skills and the safety of the sport. As we watch this startling turn of events again, put yourself in the driver's seat and think how fast all this is really happening. From what appeared to be a normal start, the 2,500 horsepower race car was thrown out of control and rolled over on its top. At this point, there's little the driver can do but crouch down in the protective roll cage, hold on tight, and ride it out. When the car slid across the track and slammed into the opposite guardrail, the fiberglass body tore off the chassis, leaving Beadle and the car back on four wheels. When the body came off, the parachute deployed, helping slow the car. Beadle quickly recovered and literally started driving the car again, this time bringing it to a safe stop.
All right, Raymond Beadle, first of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It just hurt my feelings worse than anything else.
What happened? We couldn't tell from where I was.
Well, the car went out and it shook a little bit, and it had like a slow drift, and I thought I could bring it around, and it just dug in on the one side, and when it did, it just flipped it. There's nothing I could do.
Well, that's the first time you've been on your head in a long time, maybe ever.
Well, we went on our head once several years ago, but I got to say it was my fault. I stayed with it a little longer. You know, we was trying so hard to win that round. We've slid around before and had no problem, but like I said, it just dug in.
And the car doesn't look that badly damaged.
No, it's all right. I think it rolled once or so.
Okay, I'll let you join your wife, Holly, because she's obviously concerned as your condition. He's fine.
She's worse than I am.
Raymond Beadle, sometimes I think he has ice water for blood. A cool, calm individual.
The number one qualifier, Raymond Beadle, out of competition. As we get ready to go into the second round of Funny Car Eliminator. These use the same 2,500 horsepower engines that we've been watching in those top fuel dragsters. The difference? They're covered with a fiberglass body. The matchup will find the Chi-Town Hustler, driven by this man, the number 2 qualifier, Frank Hawley, against Kosti Ivanov, the Boston Shaker out of Brighton, Massachusetts. Ivanov has got his work cut out for him because with the number 1 qualifier, Raymond Beadle, out of the field, this is the only other 5-second car in Funny Car Eliminator today. The Chi-Town Hustler in the far lane with Frank Hawley has been running superbly lately, and it is up in smoke. Kosti Ivanov out of the race as he crosses the center line, and look at the time for Frank Hawley, 5.97 seconds, the quickest time of eliminations thus far. Kosti Ivanov disappointed, coasting across the finish line. As we watch again, you'll see exactly what happens. He loses traction right there. Ivanov, the car now starting to go out of control. He tries to regain it. He cannot. Crosses the center line, and Hawley the winner.
This is the second NHRA national event of the season, and for the second time, the Chi-Town Hustler and young Canadian driver Frank Hawley go into the semifinals. Would you believe it? A 5.97 in this heat on this track.
I'm impressed because I had to lift a little bit out there. I saw Kosti come up by me. I think he left on me again. I'm just glad that Austin's motors are so fast.
Frank Hawley obviously pleased with the work of his crew chief, Austin Coyle. Our next pair of funny cars completing their burnout. Here we see John Force. He was the number 16 qualifier, just made it into the show with a 6.17 elapsed time. Number 12 was Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. He's never driven another car down a drag strip except a nitro-burning funny car. Meyer and Force here in the second round of funny car racing at the Gatornationals. The crew for Billy Meyer cleaning the racetrack of possibly a little debris or moisture, as both cars having completed their pre-racing burnout procedures, and it is John Force off the starting line first, and something goes wrong with Billy Meyer, and it is Force with an easy win. From the number 16 spot, John Force has just moved into the semifinals. His crew pleased with the work thus far, 6.43 seconds at only 230 miles an hour. He'll have to improve the performance a bit as he moves up into the semis, as we've already seen a 5.97 by Frank Hawley. The burnout designed to heat up the tires on Paul Smith's car. That's in the near lane. He's up against Al Segrini. Remember, he qualified number 9, had to race the number 1 qualifier. He won as Raymond Beadle crashed in round number 1. Paul Smith from Delray Beach, Florida, a crowd favorite, will be up against Al Segrini. Segrini in the far lane. Smith in the near lane, again from Florida. Smith, obviously the crowd favorite. As All eyes riveted on the starting line of this quarter-mile racing surface as two of the finest funny cars in the country do battle here at the Gator Nationals. And it is Paul Smith as something goes wrong with Sagrini, and another easy win in this round, this time to Paul Smith. And you talk about a crew that's showing some happiness. How about this one? Paul Smith, 627. And they are wanting all of the accolades of the crowd, the Florida fans, giving their best for Delray Beach, Paul Smith. Tim Gross sitting behind that 2,500 horsepower engine as his crewman takes off the starter. Actually, the starter drives the supercharger, and that in turn turns the engine over and starts the motor. Let's go to Steve Evans with Paul Smith.
Paul Smith, who came to the Gatornationals, was probably the shortest part supply of anybody. In fact, he only made one qualifying run clear back Thursday trying to conserve, and you're going to have a pretty good payday here.
I hope so. I tell you what, the last run we heard 8 pistons. We had to put 8 pistons in it, sleeves, and the fuel pump. Last run, and almost crossed the center line. I had to lift to get back in it, like the Blue Max tried to do, but he didn't, quite get it done as good, I guess.
You got a little bit of a break because you didn't have lane choice, and apparently Sagrini broke.
Yeah, well, I guess he did. I don't know what happened there. They told me nothing yet.
Just drive your own race, right?
Yeah, thanks. Okay,
so for Paul Smith, a happy crew as they get ready for the semifinals.
Back at the starting line, Steve, we're ready for the final race of the second round of funny car eliminations. A transplanted Midwesterner now living in Saugus, California, Tim Gross, the number 15 qualifier, will be going against a true Midwesterner, Johnny Pott, the number 3 qualifier, at a fine 6.01 seconds. Pott's the driver of Larry Kugel's car called the Sting. Should be a good race. Tim Gross against Larry Kugel. Both cars completing their pre-race procedures, and it is Tim Gross pulling ahead at the start, and he drives away from Johnny Pott, and it is Tim Gross, the winner. His elapsed time, 6.31 seconds. His speed, 230 miles an hour. Tim's car looks like it's starting to shake a little bit. It is. The right front wheel. Some severe vibration on that run must have broken something under the body of that car as Gross screeches the tires as he brings it to a halt. Johnny Pott pulls in right beside him. The emergency crew immediately raising the body and checking to see how Tim Gross is doing. Steve, what's it look like?
All right, Dave, Tim Gross a little rocky getting out of the car. As you mentioned, it shook very, very hard. His back is bothering him, but he's a lucky man in one way because the steering broke due to the shake, apparently, and he had a hard time even guiding the car in here. So when Timmy gets a chance to take his helmet off, we'll try to get a word with him if it's at all possible, because this is a very, very successful outing for him. You may remember a couple of years ago, our Spring Nationals Diamond P telecast when Timmy was very fortunate to walk away from maybe the worst crash we have ever seen. But now that's all in the past, because Tim Gross is going into the semifinals where he's going to race Paul Smith. The car must have shook awfully hard, Tim, to break the steering and almost your back.
That was bad. It was definitely bad. I've been having a problem with my lower back for a couple of years now, and it's gotten worse in the last season with all this bad shake we've been going through. And really up until this race, we've been in pretty good shape, and this right lane evidently is giving a lot of people problems. And
well, you will not have lane choice, and Paul Smith will probably put you back again in the right lane.
Well, that's possible. We'll get through her. I can make the adjustments.
All right, let's see.
Tim Gross has not only got to get his car ready, he physically has to be ready to match up against Paul Smith, while Frank Hawley will be going against John Force. Carved out of a Florida pine forest, Gainesville Raceway has hosted the Gator Nationals for 13 consecutive years. In the pit area, Tim Gross is hard at work repairing the damage to his race car to get ready for the semifinal round of Funny Car Eliminator. Gross repairing the steering on that right front wheel. Here is semifinal racing in Funny Car Eliminator. John Force will be in the near lane. The Chi-Town Hustler, number 2 qualifier, Frank Hawley, certainly the class of the field thus far. He's been the only car in the 5s in eliminations. He's matched up against Fullerton, California's John Force. Who's going to win? Who knows? A very cautious staging by John Force. And there goes Hawley streaking off the starting line. Horse trying to stay with him, but Hawley and the Chi-Town Hustler at the finish, 6.05, an incredible elapsed time as Frank Hawley moves into his first final round ever as the driver of the Chi-Town Hustler. Our final pair of cars in the semifinals of Funny Car, Paul Smith and the Entertainer, the fiberglass body being lowered down over the chassis as Tim Gross approaches the water, getting ready to heat up his tires in the burnout to see if he can make it into the finals against Frank Hawley. Side by side, Paul Smith and Tim Gross out of the burnout area as Steve's with Hawley.
Frank Hawley tells me he's not allowed to get out of the car. They'll fire him if he does. This is your first ever final round, and you've got to love it, but especially for Austin Coyle, who's been running Chi-Town Hustlers for 17 years.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that we both deserve it. I mean, the car's been running good for a long time, and, you know, we like coming to these races. You people do nice TV coverage. The event's organized well, and we like coming here, and it's nice to be in the final round.
Oh, yeah, especially when you race to eat.
Yeah, well, he told me that if we won for sure tonight, we could go have a hamburger or something like that.
I'll go with you.
I'll join you too, Steve, but Frank's got one problem. He's got to beat one of these racers. Either Paul Smith or Tim Gross will be in the final against Frank Hawley for the championship. The driver's trying to gain that little bit of advantage that'll pay off so big at the finish line. They're side by side as they leave the Christmas tree, but it is something going wrong with Paul Smith and Tim Gross. After working so hard to get his car back into shape, records a 6.48 seconds, but at this point, he doesn't care about lane choice. He's in the finals. Little things can make the difference here, too, as a lot of work has gone on both of these cars to get them ready for this final attack on the quarter mile. Tim Gross in the near lane. That's the right lane. He doesn't particularly like it. Remember, that's where he's had his problems before. Frank Hawley has been dominating that left-hand lane, and the parachute comes out on Tim Gross's car. He loses as the vibration shakes the parachute out of the car, and another blistering 6.07 for Frank Hawley as the Chi-Town Hustler picks up nearly $20,000 and a Gatornationals championship. Steve?
Coming out of the legendary Chi-Town Hustler of Farconas, Coyle, and Minnick, loved all over the country for its long, powerful burnouts, has now proven to be championship caliber as well. For Frank Hawley, his first ever national title. For the car owners, well, they were in a final once before many years ago, but for them, their first NHRA Oscar as well. Tim Gross comes over, who worked so very, very hard to get his car ready. Tim may have even had a little bit of an edge back at the line, but the powerful Chi-Town did it. Something else, boy.
Thank you very much. It feels pretty good. Those guys all look pretty happy.
Yeah, I'll bet they are. A little bit of shock here. Can you believe this has happened to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you drive a car like this, it's bound to happen, right? I'm real happy for Tim, too. I mean, he works real hard. Glad to race him. I wish, of course, you know, we could have advantaged our deal at Pomona. I wish Raymond had been around this long, but we'll get him down the road.
Well, the money went to where it was needed the most in this particular final.
Boy, I'll tell you, and it's about time.
Okay, a happy Frank Hawley, as you can see. Our congratulations to Austin Coyle and Pat Minnick and all the gang from Chicago, Illinois, the Chi-Town Hustler.
The 7th annual Cajun Nationals at State Capitol Raceway near Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This sprawling facility filled to overflowing with race fans from throughout the United States who came south for one reason, and that is speed. And these fans have not been disappointed throughout qualifying. Some of the most spectacular action that has been recorded in drag racing history has taken place right here in Baton Rouge. In qualifying, Don Prudhomme, the former four-time world champion, brings his new Pontiac Trans Am to the starting line against Trip Shoemake. Shoemake with problems off the starting line. He brings the car under control, but Don Prudhomme has no problems. The fastest run by a funny car in history.
Yeah, I had that ever-loving feeling today about it. The car run 43 yesterday, and we're the first ones to run 240. It's nice to be the first one to run 250, regardless what Beadle does.
And you just took the #1 spot from Beadle with still one session to go.
Decent, yeah, I'm real happy about that. But Raymond's no slouch. We're going to have a tough race.
Okay, congratulations again. That could be a national record if you back it up.
I think that's dynamite. Thank you.
All right, and bonus points that go with that towards the World Championship. I haven't seen the Snake smile like this in a long time. Coming back after a horrendous fire, the last race of 1981, 250 miles an hour.
About time.
Don Prudhomme has not had a good season for the past couple of years, but a happy man he is. NHRA rules require a backup run. Within 1%, Don Prudhomme must run to establish that 250-mile-an-hour pass as the new national record. Here in the final qualifying session, it is Don Prudhomme against Raymond Beadle. Prudhomme, the #1 qualifier, he must run within 1% of 250 miles an hour. And he does at 247 miles an hour plus. Don Prudhomme establishes a new national speed record for funny cars. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, home of the Cajun Nationals at state capital Dragway. I'm Dave McClelland along with Steve Evans. The temperatures are in the 90s and you can hear the engines running as we get ready to go with funny car racing. One of the new developments in drag racing is the use of nitrous oxide. A number of funny car racers are starting to experiment and develop the use of nitrous oxide. Steve is talking with one of them right now.
In the unlikely event anyone should ever ask you what your dentist's office and a AA Fuel funny car have in common, you can tell them this: nitrous oxide. The same stuff your dentist used to make you feel a little more comfortable in the chair, laughing gas, Kenny Bernstein, has been used for years in airplanes and race boats and even race cars. Push a button, get hundreds more horsepower. You don't need more horsepower, do you?
Well, sometimes we do, Steve, but as you say, pushing a button used to be the answer to all those things. You go down through there, push it, and get a lot of horsepower and go faster, but no one's perfected in the funny car ranks in that manner. What we're trying to do is flow the nitrous oxide to all 8 cylinders on the starting line, which keeps those cylinders alive and lit and not dropping them, which means you would run on 7 or 6 cylinders. If you've got 8 healthy cylinders, and we do with the nitrous oxide, then we automatically go faster.
Nitrous oxide means a cleaner burning engine for Kenny Bernstein. David?
Steve, our first pair of cars, we find Gary Bergen and Dale Poldy, neither of which are using nitrous oxide at this event. Poldy drives the War Eagle. For Gary Bergen, he sits behind the wheel of his own car called the Orange Baron. Bergen out of Stanton, California, a former national champion. Dale Poldy, also a winner several times on the NHRA Championship Trail, with a car that is regarded almost as a work of art. This, the fabulous War Eagle. Car owner Mike Hamby climbing under the back of the car. There may be some problems. The crew coming in, starting to get underneath that car. We're looking as Mike Hamby is changing the setting on the wheelie bars. These are the cars that help keep the car under control should it go into a wheel stand. Dale Poldy, the driver, deciding they didn't like it where it was. He got his crew chief and car owner Mike Hamby to change the angle of those wheelie bars, allowing the car to come up even less off the starting line. For Gary Bergen, he has no problems. All he's doing is sitting very patiently and waiting while all the work's been done on the War Eagle. A great race, but something goes wrong for Poldy, and it is Gary Bergen. His elapsed time, 6.19 seconds, a roaring 243 miles an hour as he eliminates Dale Poldy and the War Eagle. The electric starter hooked up to the 2,500 horsepower engine of Al Segrini as the fiberglass body is lowered over the tubular chassis as he gets set to go for his round of racing against the reigning world champion Raymond Beadle. His car coming to life. Raymond using nitrous oxide on the famed Blue Max. Steve is caught up with Dale Poldy. What went wrong?
Dale Poldy, a great move up the starting line, then nothing.
That's about what happened. The fuel shut off lever vibrated loose. Fuel shut off, just shut the fuel off on the thing. When I felt the engine just die, I just shut the throttle off completely.
One of those $2 part failures.
Yeah, that's about it.
A tough break for Dale Poldy, but now no one is thinking about that. They're concentrating on the next race. It is Easton, Massachusetts, Al Segrini, the winner of the Winter Nationals Championship, as he checks over his engine to get ready to go. Segrini will be faced with the defending world champion 3 times in a row, Raymond Beadle. His famous Blue Max uses nitrous oxide, and he qualified number 2.
All right, even though you weren't the first to run 250, and you didn't qualify number 1, you've got a perfect point from which to attack in the ladder number 2. Maybe the best spot in the ladder.
Well, we kind of looked at that running that last run last night because we thought if we were number 1, that was good because we'd pick up the Pioneer money and the Budweiser bonus, but also we'd have to run Billy Myers probably second round. So the look of the draw is we're better off where we are.
You stay away from Meyer and Prudhomme until the final if you get that far.
That's right.
A lot of psychology and planning going into even qualifying for one of these championship events as the Blue Max carries the big number 1 on the side of the car, indicating it is the defending and reigning world champion. He qualified number 2 right behind Don Prudhomme. Al Segrini, winner of the Winter Nationals out in Pomona, California earlier this year, knows what it takes to beat Raymond Beadle. He hopes he has it here at the Cajun Nationals. A lot of time being spent getting these two cars to the starting line. Does not seem to be any intentional psychological battle between the two. Just taking their good sweet time and concentrating on that green light. And it's a great start for Raymond Beadle. Something going wrong for Segrini, but Beadle flies through the quarter mile, 6.05 seconds. His speed, 241 miles an hour. For Al Segrini, his racing day is over here at the Cajun Nationals. He coasts to a stop as something goes wrong. Raymond Beadle turning off to go back to the pits to get ready for the next round. As here is the number 1 qualifier, the Pontiac Firebird, the brand new car for Don Prudhomme, the fastest man in history at 250 miles an hour.
Dave, Raymond Beadle came out of the car and said, was that a 5? It was a 6.05.
Okay, well, I knew it run pretty good. I thought it might have been a high 5. It shook a little at the top low gear, though.
All the rods are still in it and all the parts still attached.
It's a new motor, so I think we'll be all right.
Let me ask you something. We'll get a shot of it. What is this on your helmet, Raymond?
It's a microphone. We're fixing to put a new deal in the car so we can start talking back and forth today on them because like the other day we had that little oil leak in the pan dump and I could see it and he couldn't see it and we're just having a little trouble sometimes with just hand signal communicating. Maybe we'll kind of make a step forward.
A little Indy racing comes to drag racing.
We'll try it anyway.
Okay, you've got Poldy next round.
Okay, that's all right.
Sorry, Perkins.
We'll be all right.
Continued innovations from Raymond Beadle and the Blue Max. Coming to a shaking stop after his burnout is Johnny Pott, the driver of the car owned by Larry Kugel. They call it the Sting. Here's the man that qualified number 1 and set a new national speed record of over 250 miles an hour, Don Prudhomme. You would think that Prudhomme in that number 1 spot at 6 seconds flat is very confident going into this first round race.
Well, on paper, looking at the ladder sheet, it's Raymond Beadle, Billy Meyer, the cars to beat. But you've got a tough one in the first round. They're all tough.
You know, you better believe they're tough. If they're qualified out here, they're plenty tough. You know, I've been in this position before. This isn't my first time, and I know what it's like. Be sitting on low ET and have a dark horse come up and put you away. You don't want to think that way, but those things can happen. But I'm out there to run my own race. I feel real good, ate a good breakfast, and I'm ready.
We hope the good breakfast pays off for Don Prudhomme as he comes up against Johnny Pott. This is the first round of racing here at the Cajun Nationals. Prudhomme has already established the record at 250 miles an hour. The first man ever over that magic 250 mark in a funny car. It's Johnny Pott and Prudhomme off together. Pott holding his own at this point. And Prudhomme pulls away at the finish with a tremendous charge at the end at 242 miles an hour. But real problems for Johnny Pott in the Sting. He spins it out in the shutdown area, the car on fire. The NHRA Safety Safari crew immediately on the scene, spraying it with water. The emergency hatch opens. Here comes Pott trying to climb out of the car. The safety crewman wearing the fire protective gear. He is out of the car. He's standing up. He is okay. It is Johnny Pott nodding to the safety man. He is all right. He walks away from the car. We watch again. You see Prudhomme has a tremendous lead. The smoke starts out of the car. Then comes the fire. Pott is now inside that car. It is blazing away. The parachute behind it burns off at that point. He starts to lose control. Pott begins to waver from side to side. As the flames lick from behind the car, Pott throws the car into a spin in the shutdown area, spins it out, and comes to a stop. Johnny Pott doing a masterful driving job, keeping it under control on the pavement. Steve, what's going on now?
David, as you saw, the John Pott-driven car just exploded just past the finish line. We are on the scene right now. And as you can see, the car is sizzling and popping. We're looking right now for John Pott. And don't see him. There he is. In the orange shirt is John Pott, the black fire suit. He is okay. Got a quick check from one of the members of the emergency crew, but as you can see, there was oil all over the place. We'll try to get a word with Johnny Pott if we can. John? First of all, you all right?
Sure, just fine, just fine. Got a little hot in there for a minute, but I'm all right.
That's your first fire?
Yeah, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
After a career like yours?
Very first fire.
Well, that's an amazing
I've been careful.
I'll say. What happened?
Got out about 800 foot and it kicked some rods out of it and, get in all that oil and she smears oil over that hot motor, it gets on fire.
So when you break rods, that punches holes in the pan, the oil escapes, the headers light it on fire, and there you go.
Yeah, those headers are cherry red. You can't see with the body down, but in the lights, they're cherry red. The oil hits them and...
A few years ago, with all the safety standards we have now, you might not have walked away from this.
Oh, absolutely. The safety that's involved in the sport now is, you can't put it into words.
The hole in the side of the engine, a very expensive explosion for Johnny Pott and Larry Kugel. As they clean up the track here at Baton Rouge, Trip Shoemake and Billy Meyer getting ready to go at the Cajun Nationals. This is Heather Shoemake. And this is her daddy, Trip Shoemake, getting ready for the final race of the first round of funny car eliminations. Trip Shoemake from Phoenix, Arizona. His competition, Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. Billy, number 3 qualifier here, will be racing against Trip and the brand new car of Johnny Loper.
Trip Shoemake, first race with a new car. How does it feel to you so far?
I tell you, I'm not really comfortable in it yet. It's kind of like I've rode the other car 4 years, and this one, everybody put the steering wheel in the wrong place, and the brake handle's not where it's supposed to be. Haven't really felt comfortable in it yet, to tell you the truth.
Do you have to tune the motor differently for a new car?
Yeah, the motor's in a different place in this car, and the chassis is a little stiffer, and we're still kind of wandering around where to tune it. And besides having a donkey driver like me, it's kind of hard to get the car tuned up just right.
Again, the very difficult job of sorting out a brand new car at an NHRA championship event, and some problems over there with Billy Meyer's car. They've got the body up. Now it goes back down. The engine's still running. The crew moves out of the way, and Billy starts to approach the starting line. Meantime, Trip Shoemake continuing his burnout procedures. They're still having problems with Billy Meyer's car. The crew jumping on top of the hood area right behind the supercharger. And apparently it's okay. The starting line crews looked it over. They said, bring it to the line. So we've got the final race. This is the first round of funny car eliminations at the Cajun Nationals. Trip Shoemake in the near lane, Billy Meyer in the far lane. And they got the problem sorted out for Meyer. How about the new car of Trip Shoemake? And he has a big lead off the starting line. But it is Billy Meyer wins it at the finish. An outstanding 6.09 second elapsed time. His speed, 244 miles an hour. For Trip Shoemake, 6.21 seconds. As we watch again, you can see the big lead that's built up by Trip Shoemake over Billy Meyer off the starting line. But at the finish line, it's exactly the opposite as we see Billy Meyer coming on strong to win by half a car length over Trip Shoemake. Steve Evans has had a chance to catch up with Billy Meyer.
Billy Meyer, anxious moments on the starting line.
We had a fuel leak. You can see the window. I can't even see out the right side of the window there, Steve. I didn't really know what it was, and you're in the car and you can't relate anything to the guys. Luckily, Denny Martinez looked like he saw what it was and apparently fixed it some because it wasn't anywhere near as bad on the run as it was before that.
Fine job of driving. It sounded like you had to get off the throttle once or twice.
We lifted once. What did we run?
6:09.
Perfect. We had lane choice.
Billy Meyer did a fine job of driving under difficult circumstances.
At State Capitol Dragway near Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'm Dave McClelland along with Steve Evans, and we're set for the semifinals of Funny Car Eliminator. We'll see Don Prudhomme against Billy Meyer as one of these two cars will move into the finals and a shot at the Cajun Nationals title. Billy Meyer has his work cut out for him, though. His competition, Don Prudhomme, has already set a new national speed record of over 250 miles an hour. The burnouts are completed by both drivers. All the concentration now put on the electronic starting device known as a Christmas tree. The cars inch forward into the light beams across the starting line. The switch is thrown, the green light comes on, and up in smoke goes Billy Meyer. Don Prudhomme streaks for the finish line. 6.10 is elapsed time, 246 miles an hour, his speed at the end of the quarter mile. And for Waco, Texas, Billy Meyer, his day of racing is over. because the car lost traction right off the starting line. You saw Billy try to recover. He was unable to do so, and Don Prudhomme moves into the finals.
6'10", 243, Snake.
That's not real good. You know, it might sound pretty decent, but we need to run a little bit harder than that to whip with Beadle right now, I think.
The tower tells me you're really tuned up. Your driving, your reaction was dead on.
Yeah, well, I was a little late last time. I had to make up for it. That Meyer's no fool.
Well, here we...
I'm sorry.
That's okay, no big... Now, on the starting line, Raymond Beadle, the Blue Max, he told me in the lanes that he is really going to step on it and go for lane choice.
Oh, yes, yeah. Raymond's tough, and so's Myers, but, you know, every round's a new round, so that's going to be interesting.
All right, let's go back to David on the starting line and find out who will race Don Prudhomme in the final round.
Steve, this is the first time since last August that Don Prudhomme has made it into the finals of an NHRA national event. He will be running one of these two racers, either the Orange Baron of Gary Bergen from Stanton, California, or the famed Blue Max. That's Raymond Beadle, the reigning world champion. Bergen creeping forward into the water, getting set for his burnout. At the rear of the car, you see the two parachute packs. Bergen is one that believes in double safety. If one parachute doesn't function, he's still got another one to help bring him to a stop after his 240-mile-an-hour run. Raymond Beadle qualified number 2 here at the Cajun Nationals, and in this semifinal round, Gary Bergen has a tough chore. We asked him about it.
You're racing Beadle. Do you hope that he just makes a mistake and you run your own race, or are you going to pump it up and try to match ETs with him?
Well, I think we've learned in the long run that it's better to get down the racetrack and let him beat you.
Or beat himself.
Absolutely. You know, in other words, if you smoke the tires or something breaks on your car, then you beat yourself. If you get down the racetrack, then he's got to beat you, regardless of how he does it.
So Gary Bergen has his plan figured out as to how to beat Raymond Beadle. Raymond Beadle is trying to figure out how can he advance past Gary Bergen and meet Don Prudhomme in the final. Raymond Beadle and the Blue Max crew, some of the most innovative people in drag racing today. As we know, he is using the newly developed nitrous oxide systems on the Blue Max. The Ford EXP body nestling around that 2,500 horsepower engine. As he talked with Steve Evans a bit earlier, you saw the utilization of a two-way radio system between the driver and the crew chief, Dale Emery. Constant improvement of these very exotic race cars. They weigh about 1,800 pounds with 2,500 horsepower, and it's a red light for Gary Bergen. He shuts it off, he beat himself, and it is Raymond Beadle and the Blue Max in the finals of the Cajun Nationals against Don Prudhomme. The showdown in Funny Car Eliminator. Raymond Beadle, the reigning world champion for 3 consecutive years, has held that title against Don Prudhomme. From 1975 to 1978, Don Prudhomme won 4 consecutive world champion titles, dominating funny car racing like no other man until Raymond Beadle came along. But the thoughts are not on world championships now. They're concentrating on the Cajun Nationals win. The number 1 qualifier, Don Prudhomme. The number 2 qualifier, Raymond Beadle. Who will win it? And it is Raymond Beadle pulling away at the finish. 6.08 seconds his elapsed time. His speed, 239 miles an hour. And what a close race. This is what funny car racing is all about. As Don Prudhomme valiantly trying to catch the streaking Raymond Beadle, but he doesn't, as Raymond Beadle defeating the Snake for the funny car title.
All right, Raymond Beadle gets a sock off. Prudhomme comes over, gives him a handshake, said, "What'd we run?" Raymond Beadle, a 6:08. You are the Cajun Nationals champ.
Well, we won once before, so hopefully they say things come in 3. This is Atlanta, Bristol, and here, so maybe it'll come in 4s.
Well, you burned it a little bit, but who cares at this point, right? You're here to win.
You got to sacrifice for the Snake. I mean, he don't come easy. I mean, anyone that runs him knows that. In fact, anytime someone asks me who's my most feared competitor, I always say him, because everyone says, "Where's he been?" He's been right here.
The 18th annual Spring Nationals, residing at National Trail Raceway, just outside of Columbus, Ohio, and currently being attended by an absolutely overflow crowd. For the past 7 years, Diamond P Sports has brought you this event, and each year it has provided our cameras rare insight into NHRA drag racing and the people of the sport.
Dave, an update on that Billy Meyer story. We were wondering if he'd even make it into the lanes. He's the first car on the lanes. There's nobody else even here yet. How on earth have you done this so quickly?
Practice. We have to do this a lot.
You broke a lot of backs doing that by hand. Why?
Yeah, it's we exploded the winch in my face, and we went and borrowed Raymond's, and Raymond's wouldn't work on our deal, so we just had to do it by hand.
The 2,500 horsepower nitro-burning funny car in the long, crowd-pleasing Burnout. And this, the most famous Burnout king of them all, the Chi-Town Hustler, driven by Frank Hawley. Racing against Hawley in this round is Billy Meyer, and we've seen a lot of work by Billy and his crew, literally changing an engine by hand to get this car ready for this round of racing. For the Chi-Town Hustler team and Frank Hawley, it's a tight race with Ray Beadle for the points championship lead in the World Championship Series. For Billy Meyer, he's taking dead aim on just getting past this round to move into the semifinals. The funny cars, mechanically duplicates of the Top Fuel dragsters, utilizing the nitro-burning engine. The chassis configuration somewhat different, with the engine in front of the driver, the body a fiberglass replica, in Billy Meyer's case, of an 82 Trans Am. For Frank Hawley, his body style an 82 Dodge Charger. A good lead for both cars, Frank Hawley and Billy Meyer. And it is Hawley pulling it out at the end, but he's also got a little smoke, indicating some possible engine damage. Frank Hawley using the 2 parachutes to bring him to a safe stop. This win moving him into the semifinals. The next 2 cars ready to go, and out of the Burnout area comes Don the Snake Prudhomme. Alongside of him, Kenny Bernstein. Prudhomme, the big story of the recent Cajun Nationals, as you watched right here on Diamond P Sports. Don Prudhomme and his Pontiac Trans Am established a new all-time speed record for funny cars, 250 miles an hour. For Kenny Bernstein, it has been a trouble-plagued season thus far. Kenny, out of Austin, Texas, has had lots of problems, but he's getting them sorted out at this event. For Don Prudhomme, former 4-time world champion, he's ready for anything. Prudhomme in the Pontiac Trans Am, Kenny Bernstein driving the Mercury LN7 body creation, both engines producing well over 2,500 horsepower. We're in the second round of the Spring Nationals Funny Car Eliminations. On the starting line, Don Prudhomme and Kenny Bernstein, and look at Bernstein leave the starting line with a tremendous lead as Prudhomme just shuts it off. Bernstein may have solved all his problems at this event. Prudhomme slowly coasting across, but the story is Bernstein at a tremendous 6.08 second elapsed time. The body's being lowered over our next 2 competitors. It is Dale Paulding driving the War Eagle. This car has been described by many as truly a rolling work of art. Paulding and his partner Mike Hamby with the War Eagle. Steve?
Well, regular viewers of our Diamond P telecast may not recognize Kenny Bernstein's face with a smile on it, but we're going to see one.
Yeah, really, I'm telling you, it was a nice race. That time she didn't move around quite as bad, Steve.
We'll be delighted with the ET in 08.
Oh, it's better than I thought. Yeah, I'm a little confused yet because when it shakes so much, I can't really tell where it's going. That time it didn't shake at all, and it just did what it was supposed to.
Well, you loaded it for Prudhomme.
Yeah, well, we really put a lot of clutch on it to see if we get the shake to go away, and it worked.
And Kenny Bernstein hopes it continues to work for 2 more races. But the immediate thought of the moment on Dale Paulding's mind is this race, and he will be up against Al Segrini. Segrini, winner of the Winter Nationals thus far this season, is in there in the thick of things in the points chase. And one of the reasons why Al Segrini has been enjoying such success was evidenced here at the Spring Nationals in round number 1 of competition, when he took on the current points leader, Raymond Beadle, in the famed Blue Max. For Raymond Beadle, look at the smoke that is pouring out of this car as it sits on the starting line before the race is even underway. Lots of smoke indicating tremendous problems with the engine. Al Segrini, he's concentrating on the tree. He doesn't realize it. And really, Raymond Beadle is out of it before he ever left the line. Al Segrini, a big win over Raymond Beadle.
David, there is already an autopsy going on at the Blue Max pits trying to find out what is wrong with this motor. Raymond, it appeared to hurt itself early. A lot of smoke coming off the car.
Yeah, the car was dead on the burnout. As soon as I stopped on the burnout, I knew it was dead, and I backed up and we did the one little chirp. The motor was dead. It already hurt one cylinder. So that's why I kind of hurried up and staged the car. I mean, just in case he might make an error on the starting line, which he didn't do. I mean, I might have rushed him up a little bit. Like I said, we didn't have it. I had nothing to lose and everything to gain.
The Blue Max crew hard at work trying to find out what went wrong with yet another engine here at the Spring Nationals. In the second round of racing, Al Segrini, having disposed of Ray Beadle, takes on Dale Paldy. A great start, but Paldy up in smoke, and Segrini, his tires locked to the pavement, streaks across the finish line and takes the win. A disappointment for Paldy. He had run very good in round number 1, but for Al Segrini, he's happy as he moves into the next round. Already, as the cars turn off the racetrack, we've got another pair fired and ready to go, John Force and Tom Anderson. But right now, let's go down to Steve Evans.
Well, for a guy who got in the show at the last possible moment late Saturday afternoon, you're looking awfully good now.
Boy, I'm telling you. We had problems the whole race. We just dropped the cylinders, and we picked it up that last qualifying pass, and it really felt good. It's starting to come together now, though. That's where it counts.
The final pair of the second round of funny car eliminations. With Tom Anderson driving Jim Ouimet's Wombat car. Anderson, a journeyman race driver. He has driven for several car owners and acquitted himself well against John Brute Force from California. Force in the 81 citation-bodied entry. Tom Anderson driving an 82 Ford EXP body, the car owned by Jim Ouimet. Surprising many a racer at various national events, and I'll tell you, he's got John Force headed from wire to wire. It is Tom Anderson at 6.23 seconds, taking the measure of John Brute Force. So the semifinals, we find Al Segrini against Kenny Bernstein, Frank Hawley going against Tom Anderson at the Spring Nationals.
This is the $250,000 semi-truck and trailer of Billy Meyer, just loaded to the walls with parts and pieces, but Meyer is out of competition. On the other hand, we have the quickest car in eliminations, the Chi-Town Hustler. What year is this truck?
Gosh, I almost forgot. I think it's a 66 or 7 or something around there.
Well, it's quite a contrast to the semi of Myers. In fact, it's got a 1968 Lions drag strip decal on the window. But your low ET, you could leave here with a points lead, but if you make a mistake, Anderson's going to get you.
He worried me all weekend when we qualified. He ran a couple O's, and we've run him a couple national events. He's really quick on the lights. I mean, 480s and 90s, which is unheard of in a fuel car. And maybe I can be that sharp, and maybe we'll just outrun him. And it's really getting important at this far into the season.
The crew under the fiberglass body, getting ready to go as funny car racing coming up next. But first, let's join Steve.
Trying to keep Raymond Beadle out of trouble is no easy matter, so I've cornered him here, and we'll have him do a little forecasting for us on the funny car semifinals to come. All right, what do you think of the Kenny Bernstein Al Segrini race here on the ladder?
Well, Kenny's got the momentum now that he beat Perdome, and over Segrini, I'll probably give Bernstein the favorite about 3-1.
Okay, now the other half of the semis. We've got Frank Hawley, the Chi-Town Hustler, and Tom Anderson.
I think you have almost an identical situation. Hawley with Austin Coyle there, they run awful good, and I'm going to give about 3-2 over Anderson.
All right, thank you, Raymond the Greek.
Steve will be keeping track of Raymond's predictions in these next two races. Al Segrini and Kenny Bernstein completing their burnout and backing up into the tracks left after their burnout. A lot of rubber down on that concrete starting line pad here at National Trail Raceway, providing, of course, the traction that moves these cars off the starting line. And, of course, that traction, all important. Putting the power to the ground, and the clutch is one of the areas where it's most important, and maybe some problems with Kenny Bernstein's clutch.
No one is finding any consistency today.
No, they're not at all. It's because the racetrack is, as you know and we know, a shaker right now. And until you find the combination that can get down the shaker track, that's what happens. One runs good, one runs bad. Hopefully that one will teach us something.
Kenny's last run, very good. He's hopeful that all the clutch work between rounds will pay off. Al Segrini in this field on the last qualifying attempt has Done very well for himself thus far, and look at this. A race in the semifinal as Al Segrini wins the race. Al Segrini over Kenny Bernstein. Remind me, Steve, not to use Raymond Beadle as my handicapper. Al Segrini moving into the funny car finals for the second. What's going on in the Lucille Lee pit area? It's Jeb Allen's car, and obviously the engine is out of the car, and there it is on the hook. That is Mark Danikas, the owner of Lucille Lee's car, and that is the engine that Jeb Allen said was no good. And that's Lucille Lee's car, and it looks like they're getting ready to drop Jeb Allen's engine in the car. Let's go to Steve.
Well, elapsed times don't really matter as long as you're in a berth in the final round. It was like a 6:27 to a 6:32, but you got there first in a lot of smoke.
That's all right. We'll hurt a couple. It don't matter. As long as we're in the final.
Right, now you probably won't get lane choice with that 27.
That's okay. Like I told you earlier, I'm not worried about it. I mean, we didn't run that lane ever, so it seems pretty tight, really.
Okay, let's go back to the starting line of Dave McClellan and see who Al Segrini's opponent will be in the funny car final.
Right you are, Steve, and it'll be one of these two. It'll be Frank Hawley at the wheel of the Chi-Town Hustler, or it could be Tom Anderson driving Jim Ouimet's car. Frank Hawley has a lot of respect for young Tom Anderson. He regards him as one of the quickest drivers in the sport off the starting line. Both drivers taking their good sweet time and getting into the staging beam. Doesn't appear to be any great psychological battle. They're just getting everything set to their liking before they pull into that light beam that indicates they are properly staged. The two cars leave the starting line as one as Frank Hawley pulls ahead at the finish line. Tom Anderson, possibly sensing something going wrong with the car, shuts it off early, and Frank Hawley moves into the Spring Nationals Funny Car Finals.
Right, a 6:11 gives you lane choice. Boy, you're looking awfully good.
Well, I don't know. I spun the tires a lot. I don't know if we want to stay there or go over there, or maybe we'll just let Al take his pick.
Frank Hawley and the Chi-Town Hustler, Al Segrini. Coming into this race, nobody figured that it would be Al Segrini in the final. Frank Hawley, that's a different story. He has recorded low elapsed time of eliminations thus far. Segrini and Hawley, the 18th annual Spring Nationals title at stake in Funny Car Eliminator. And Frank Hawley to a good lead. Segrini going out of control so lightly, and Hawley straight to the finish line to a 6.07 second elapsed time. And you see a slight wheel stand by Al Segrini. The rear tires breaking traction. He losing control, and the race going to Frank Hawley. Steve?
You know, one thing, a lot of people, spectators in the pits, like they can at the direct, they look at those big semis, and they can't even fantasize owning something like that. They look at your old truck, and you guys, ain't nothing fancy about you, and you go out and whip the best.
Well, it might not look too fancy, but the knowledge is there.
Plenty sophisticated.
That's it. That's it. I mean, the car's as good as any, and it proves it just the way it runs and the crew and stuff, and I'm running out of words, Steve.
Okay, I don't blame you. And Austin Coyle, Farcona's Minnick, the owners of the car from Chicago, Illinois, the Chi-Town Hustler can do a lot more than just long, smoky burnouts.
The second win of the year for Frank Hawley.